I moved into apartment 3B last fall. Small studio, old building, dirt cheap. Should have been a red flag. The place had a weird smell, not rot, just old, like soaked wood or forgotten basements. Still, it was quiet. The walls were thin, but I barely heard anyone. I work from home, video editing mostly, so I spend most days inside. At first, the silence felt like peace, like calm, but the building itself felt off. Not in a dramatic way, just a tension in the air I couldn't name, a stillness too still, the kind that makes you hesitate before flipping off the last light. By the third night, I stopped telling myself it was nothing. The apartment didn't feel empty, not completely. Strange things started that first week. I'd close the kitchen cupboards, only to find them wide open an hour later. The bathroom light flickered without reason, harmless stuff, things you can explain away, until the TV turned on by itself one night, blasting static. I unplugged it, figured it was bad wiring. But that night, I couldn't sleep. I kept listening for movement I couldn't quite hear. No whispers, no footsteps, just quiet, but not peaceful, the kind of quiet that feels watched. I'd catch myself glancing at corners, expecting to see someone standing there. There never was. Still, it felt like the place held its breath when I entered a room. It wasn't haunted, it wasn't cold. It just wasn't empty. Every strange thing seemed to happen at 3:14 a.m. I started waking up at that exact time. No alarm, no sound, just this jolt, like something pulling me out of sleep. One night, I heard the bathroom door creak open. Slow, deliberate. I got up, heart pounding, and sure enough, it was wide open. I know I shut it. The next night, I locked it before bed. In the morning, the mirror had a long, jagged crack across it, no signs of impact, like pressure had built behind the glass and split it from within. That's when I started filming. Short clips, just in case. I needed proof I wasn't imagining things, but somehow, watching it back made it all feel worse. I finally caught something. Reviewing a clip from the night before, 3:14, like always. The bathroom door swings open slowly on its own. At first, that was it. But near the edge of the frame, there's a blur. Quick, almost nothing. I paused it, rewound. There it was again, a flicker of a shoulder, dark fabric, and what looked like long, damp hair. I zoomed in. The frame glitched like the file didn't want to stay still. No face, just that one shape, like someone standing just outside the shot. I stared at the paused screen for 10 minutes, trying to decide if I wanted it to be something or nothing. Honestly, I'm still not sure which is worse. The last night sealed it. Around 3 a.m., the power flickered, then came back. I sat up, room dim, too quiet. My TV, still unplugged, lit up with static. Then I heard them, slow, deliberate footsteps from the bathroom. I grabbed my phone, flicked on the flashlight, and aimed it down the hall. At the far end, a woman stood, pale skin, motionless, facing the wall. Her hair was wet, clinging to her neck. I didn't breathe. I blinked, and she was gone, just an empty hallway. I didn't sleep. I packed at dawn and left everything behind. I never told the landlord. I just left. And sometimes, when it's quiet at night, I still wonder if that woman ever turned around. I didn't want the house, but after the divorce, I had no choice. My grandmother left it to me, an old, weather-beaten place tucked deep in upstate New York. It smelled like dust and forgotten things. The wiring was a mess, no security system, and the floor creaked like it was complaining. My dog Max hated it from the moment we stepped inside. The worst part was the crawl space in the kitchen, sealed shut with rusted nails. Grandma used to warn me, never open that, just leave it be. She blamed it on rats, maybe bad pipes, but the way she'd look at it, like she was afraid it might look back. The first night, I heard faint tapping beneath the floor, like something shifting just under the surface. I told myself it was old pipes, or maybe the house settling, but then the lights began to flicker, always in the kitchen, always near that damn crawl space. Max started growling at empty corners, refusing to enter certain rooms. I'd find small things moved, My keys on the floor, drawers half open that I know I shut. Once I came home and the front door was wide open. I froze. I know I locked it. I checked twice. I started sleeping with a flashlight under my pillow, telling myself I was being paranoid, but deep down, something felt wrong. Like the house was responding. I kept telling myself it was just stress, until one evening I walked in and saw a chair pulled out from the kitchen table, turned, perfectly aligned, facing the sealed crawl space door. My stomach dropped. One of the nails was sticking out now, bent like someone had been working it loose from the inside. I called the old man next door, hoping for reassurance. Instead, he said, "Your grandma sealed that up after some drifter broke in. Cops searched, but they never found him. She swore he never left." That night, I checked every lock, every window. Everything was shut tight. Still, I couldn't shake the feeling that something, or someone, was watching me. From inside the house, I started sleeping with a hammer under my pillow, just in case. One night, around 3 a.m., I woke up to a dragging sound downstairs. Slow, heavy. Max was barking like crazy, clawing at the bedroom door. My heart was pounding as I crept down the hall, and when I reached the kitchen, I froze. The crawlspace door was wide open. The air pouring out was damp and sour, like mold and rot. I grabbed a flashlight and peeked inside. Nothing, just darkness and dust. But then I noticed something under the floorboards. Crumpled food wrappers, half eaten. Not mine. I hadn't even bought that brand. That's when it hit me. Someone had been down there, and they weren't gone. I called the police, hands shaking, voice barely steady. When they arrived, they went straight into the crawl space, and what they found still makes my skin crawl. A blanket, a grimy flashlight, and fresh footprints in the dirt. One officer looked up at me and said, "Someone's been living down here, slipping in and out through your old vents." My stomach turned. While I was sleeping, someone had been in my home, creeping through the walls, watching me. The officer glanced at me and added quietly, "You were lucky. He didn't try anything. Yet." That word, "yet," echoed in my head all night. By morning, I had packed everything. Max and I left and never looked back. I still sleep with the lights on. After my breakup, I moved into a quiet old apartment. My first time living alone. The building smelled like dust and fading memories, with thin walls and neighbors who mostly kept to themselves. It felt like the fresh start I needed. Until I noticed the man across the hall. Mid-40s, hunched posture, always in the same gray hoodie. He never spoke, never made eye contact, just shuffled past me like a ghost with a pulse. The first time we crossed paths, I smiled. Nothing, not even a glance. It wasn't shyness. It was something else, something colder. He walked by like I wasn't even there, and for some reason that felt worse than if he'd stared straight through me. At first, it was just little things. My welcome mat kept shifting slightly, never how I left it. One night, I heard a soft knock at 2 a.m. Just one. When I opened the door, no one was there. A few days later, a yellow sticky note was stuck to it. Just one word: sorry. I laughed it off with a friend on the phone, joking that maybe my hallway was haunted. Maybe a bored neighbor playing games. Still, I started checking the peephole more often, holding my breath before unlocking the door. I told myself it was stress, adjusting to a new place, but deep down, something felt off. Like I wasn't alone, even when I knew I was. One evening, I came home and instantly knew something was off. The bathroom light was on. My towel folded differently than I ever fold it, and my toothbrush was damp, like someone had just used it. I stood there frozen, every part of me screaming that I had locked the door that morning. Nothing was stolen, but it felt like the air itself had been touched. I called the building manager. He swore no one had been inside, no spare keys used. I didn't believe him. That night, I pushed a chair under the doorknob before bed, just in case. Around 3 a.m., I woke up to a sound that chilled me. Slow, heavy breathing, coming from right outside my door. 3:04 a.m., I woke to a sound that made my skin crawl. Slow, steady breathing just outside my door. I didn't move. Didn't even blink. The next morning, I opened the door to find a single peanut placed neatly on the mat. I'm severely allergic. That was no accident. I filed a report. And finally, someone spoke up. A neighbor who'd seen the man across the hall crouched at my door, night after night, staring at the gap beneath it. Management checked his unit. What they found still haunts me. A notebook filled with my name, my daily schedule, even what I wore. Worst of all, 3 keys. All perfect copies of mine. He wasn't watching, he was planning. I moved out within a week. The landlord said, "You're safe now," like those words could undo what happened. My new place is brighter, cleaner, normal, but I still jam a chair under the doorknob every night, and some nights, without reason, I wake up at exactly 3:12 a.m. There's no sound, no breathing, just a thick, awful stillness pressing on my chest. I lie there, staring at the door, heart racing, listening to nothing, but feeling everything. People say trauma fades. Maybe they're right. But part of me wonders, if he's out there, watching someone new, or worse, still watching me. I escaped the apartment, but sometimes I wonder if I ever escaped him, or if I'm still living in his story.